Dear friends, news from the main line has not been good. The Fat Controller has been having trouble. A short while ago, he gave Henry a coat of green paint, but as soon as he got his old color back again, Henry became conceited. Gordon and James, too, have been getting above themselves. I am glad to say, however, that the Fat Controller has quite kindly, but very firmly, put them in their place, and now the trains are running as usual. I hope you will like meeting Percy. We shall be hearing more of him later. The author, the Reverend W. Audrey. Now, on with the show!
Henry and the Elephant.
Henry and Gordon were lonely when Thomas left the yard to run his branch line. They missed him very much. They had more work to do and had to fetch their own coaches. They didn't like that. The engines were causing so Thomas had a great deal of trouble. James and Edward normally shunt the coaches, but James grew tired. We get no rest! We get no rest! They all complained. And the coaches would say, You're lazy and slack! You're lazy and slack! One day, a circus came to town, and the engines forgot to be tired and cross. They wanted to shunt the special trucks until it was time for the circus to leave. Then Gordon and Henry were cross when James got to pull the special train. Da 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 circus, da 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 Afro circus, Afro circus, Afro polka dot, Afro. Soon after, Gordon and Henry were given coats of paint. Gordon chose blue and Henry chose green, and they still grumbled when they had to fetch their coaches along with James. One morning, Henry was told to get some workmen and bring them to the tunnel. There was something blocking. Pushing cars, pushing cars, pushing cars, Henry muttered. As soon as they reached the tunnel, the workmen got in. And then, a few minutes later, they ran out in terror. What is it? Asked the workman. We were in the tunnel and something was moving. Don't be daft, said the foreman. What? It's not daft, and it's not nonsense. It's big and huge. The foreman said,
All right then, I'll go in. I'll get in a truck, push the blockage out of the way.
Then he said he'll have Henry push the blockage out. Oh dear, I don't want to go in. Neither do I, said his driver, but we must clear the line. So they went in, and the blockage was indeed alive and very strong. It began to push the train backwards. Out of the tunnel came Henry, then the cars, and last of all, a large but cross elephant. Well, I never, said the foreman. The workman gave the elephant some cake. He drank 3 buckets of water and was just about to drink another when Henry let off steam. Cried the elephant. Water went all over Henry. Poor Henry. The elephant and his keeper were soon reunited, but Henry was most upset. An elephant pushed me. Shh! An elephant pushed me. Shh! And he backed away from the elephant and the tunnel. At the shed that night, he told the other engines. Gordon and Henry felt sorry for Henry, but still teased them. Henry, first the rhine, then the elephant. Whatever would you be afraid of next? Never mind, Henry, said Thomas. I think you were brave today, and really useful too. Thanks, Thomas. Oh, but that coaching and shut the coach's nonsense.
Sing a song for Gordon. He's big, he's fast, he's proud.
Tenders and turntables.
The big station at both ends of the line each had a turntable. The Fat Controller made them so that the tender engines can turn round, cause it's dangerous for them to go fast backwards. Little tank engines like Thomas don't need turntables. They can go backwards and forwards quite easily. And to hear Gordon talk, you'll think he gave him a tender, or the Fat Controller, to show how important Gordon is.
You don't understand, little Thomas. We tender engines have a position to keep up. It doesn't matter where you go, but we are important. And for the Fat Controller to make us shunt trucks, fetch coaches, and go on some of those dirty sidings, it's not the proper thing.
Thomas only laughed and puffed away from Gordon. At the end of the line, Gordon dropped off his passengers and coaches and went onto a turntable.
Disgraceful.
Gordon hissed when he was on the turntable. He kept reversing and going forwards because the wind is so strong because the turntable was by the sea. The workmen tried to get Gordon to fit, but he's not trying. It's no good, they said at last. Your big tender upsets the balance. Now you have to pull your passenger train backwards. Look! Called some boys. There's a tank engine. Oh, it's only Gordon back to front. Hello, Gordon. Playing tank engines, I see. Sensible engine. Take my advice. Scrap your tender and have a nice bunker, suggested Thomas. Gordon said nothing. Even James laughed when he saw the incident.
Take care.
Said Gordon.
You might stick to.
Never fear, chuckled James. I'm not so large and fat as you. James went on the turntable. It could now spin easily. Ah, this is the life. Later, Gordon came along, and he saw what happened. James began to spin right round like a top. He couldn't stop. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Well,
said Gordon.
are you playing roundabouts?
James, who was feeling quite giddy, rolled into the shed and stayed silent. He was sick. That night, the engines have an indignation meeting. It's shameful to treat engines like this. I get hoosed by an elephant. Gordon keeps acting like a tank engine. And James gets spun around like a top. And to make matters worse, we get to shunt coaches. It's tiring us out. It's too much work. Wow!
Listen.
Said Gordon. He whispered something to the others.
We'll do it tomorrow. The Fat Controller will look silly.
The engines had decided to go on strike.
Trouble in the shed.
So Top and Hat sat in his office listening to the noise outside. The passengers were angry. The station master came in. There's trouble in the shed, sir. Henry is sulking. There's no train, and the passengers were saying this is a bad railway. Bad railway indeed, says the top hat. We cannot allow that. Tell the crowd to calm down while I get the engines. Yes, sir. He found Gordon, James, and Henry looking very cross. Come along, Henry. It's time your train is ready.
Henry is not going,
Said Gordon.
We won't shunt like little tank engines. That was Thomas's job. We are important tender engines. You fetch our coaches and we will pull them. Tender engines don't shunt.
We'll see about that, says the top hat. No engine on my railway is too important for small jobs. And he hurried away to find Edward. The yard has never been the same since Thomas left the yard to run his branch line, he thought sadly. He found Edward shunting. Leave those trucks, please, Edward, says the top hat. I want you to shunt coaches for me in the yard. Thank you, sir. That would be a nice change. Good, off you go then. And from that day on, the trains were good as usual. But one day, Edward was unhappy. Gordon came clanking past, hissing rudely at him. Bless me, says the top hat. What a noise. They all hiss me, said Edward. They said tender engines don't shunt. And last night they said I have black wheels. I haven't, have I, said? No, Edward, you have nice blue ones, and I'm proud of you. But all the same, we do need another tank engine. I'm off to a workshop where there is engines there. Do you think you can handle the engines, Edward? Oh, yes, sir. I'll try to calm them down, and everything will be all good. Good, off you go then. Sir Thomas Hat went to the workshop where they showed him all sorts of engines. There were big engines, small engines, cool-looking engines, and odd-looking engines. At last, Sir Thomas Hat saw a nice little green engine with 4 wheels. He was a GWR Avon-sized saddle tank with modifications. That's the one, he thought. If I choose you, little green one, will you work hard? Oh, sir! Yes, sir! Good, I should give you a name. What shall I call you? How about Percy? How about that? Percy. Oh, I love that name! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! And they puffed off to find Edward. So, Sir Thomas Hat brought Percy back to the yard. Edward, he called. Here's Percy. Will you show him everything? Soon they were shunting coaches, and they had a happy afternoon. Then Henry came by, wheezing as usual. Wheeze! Went Percy. Henry jumped and ran back to the shed. Retreat! 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 How beautifully you wheezed him. I can't wheeze like that. Oh, that's nothing, said Percy. You should hear in the workshop. You had to wheeze loudly to make yourself heard. At last Thomas came. Sir Thomas has sent for me. I can see he wants help. Oh, and who's this? That's Percy, Thomas. Say hello, Percy. Hello. Are you Thomas? Yes, I am. Shh, shh, shh. Everyone, said Edward. Here he comes. Well done, Thomas. You came quick. Now, I have some special tasks for you. Gordon, James, and Henry are sulking. They say they won't shunt like little tank engines. So I shut them off, and I want you to run the main line for a while. Little tank engines indeed, snorted Thomas. We'll show those sausages. And Percy can help too with Thomas's branch line. Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. So Thomas and Edward take turns on the main line, and they whistle to each other often. Percy took Annie and Clarabelle. Thomas was anxious about them, but Percy, his driver and fireman, promised to take care of them. Gordon, James, and Henry were cold, lonely, and miserable. They wished now they hadn't been so silly and stupid.
Percy runs away.
Henry, James, and Gordon were miserable. They had been shut up for several days for being naughty and longed to be let out again. At last, Sir Top Hat opened the shed door. "I know you are sorry," he said, "and you understand you're not as important as you thought. We have a new tank engine called Percy, who helps pull coaches, and Thomas and Edward work the main line nicely. But I'll let you guys out now if you promise to work hard. Would you do that for me?" "Oh, yes, sir! Yes, yes, yes! We'll certainly work for you, sir. Yes, we will." "That's good. Now please remember that this no-shutting nonsense must stop." Sir Topham Hatt told Percy, Edward, and Thomas that they can go play on the branch line for a few days. They ran off happily to find Annie and Clarabelle. The two coaches were pleased to see Thomas again. Edward and Percy played with the freight cars. "Stop! Stop! Stop!" they hollered as they were pushed into their proper sidings. Thomas puffed off to do his branch line duties. Then Edward took some empty cars to the quarry. Percy didn't mind that a bit. He would tell the engines to hurry and whistle cheekily at them, and the engines get very cross. Then Percy took some trucks to a siding. Then he puffed along till he reached the signal box. He waited for the signalman to switch the points so he could get back to the yard. But he didn't. Edward warned Percy, "Be careful on the main line. Whistle to the signalman when you were there." But Percy didn't remember the whistle, so the busy signalman forgot it. Then he looked along the main line. He whistled, for rushing straight toward him was Gordon with the express. Groaned Gordon.
Get out of my way!
Percy opened his eyes. Gordon had stopped just from a few inches from Percy's. But Percy had begun to move. Pretty slowly at first, and then quicker. "I won't stay here. I'll run away," he puffed. Percy was so frightened that he ran up Gordon's hill without stopping. "Oh! Oh! Get away! Get away!" And he rushed through Edward's station. "Oh! Oh! Get away! Get away! Get away from me! Help! Help me! Someone! Someone!" After that he was tired, but he couldn't stop. He had no driver nor fireman to shut off steam and apply the brakes. "I want to stop! I want to stop! Help! 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 Help!" a kind cinnamon, and went on and swished Percy onto the siding, and he ended up in a big bank of earth. He was too tired now to care where he went. I want to stop! I want to stop! Wait, I have stopped! Oof! Percy was buried in a bank of earth. Never mind, Percy, said some workmen as they dug him out. You shall have a drink and some coal, and then you feel better. Just then, Gordon arrived.
Well done, Percy. You started so quickly that you stopped a nasty accident.
I'm very sorry, Gordon, how I was cheeky, said Percy.
You were clever to stop.
Said Gordon. Then Gordon helped pull Percy out from the bank. The two engines are now good friends. Percy is always careful when he goes out on the main line.